Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the free-to-play account, and we have started this account about a month ago. You can see we've already pushed to 32-13, so we have made a ton of progression, and it has been done with really two heroes, one being Randy, one being the build out of Rem. Now we know with the solo leveling crossover, we unfortunately cannot open up any of the chests at this point, so they are literally just sitting right here waiting. But in today's video, I wanted to cover Noob's new player guide. Now, we covered a guide when we started this last month, and it really led to a lot of questions. A lot of players had questions, not knowing the game, unfamiliar with it. We're looking at Noob's guide, and we will in just a minute. It breaks it down a lot easier. It breaks it down a lot more kind of systematically. So I want to bring this up and show you exactly what we're talking about and break this down. Now, big shout out to Noob Survival Guide. Now, this is one that we have covered in the past. Want to give a little bit of feedback because there's some things in here that I feel like could be a little bit changed, but I want to cover this in the entirety, and everyone who put in all of their input and everything else on Discord. So looking at our wish list summons, now this very early is going to be exactly what you're looking for. Now the dynamic in here is interesting because you see right here, we do have a couple heroes in here with the white borders. So if it has the white borders, 8 copies are fine, meaning you're going to take them to Ascended. What you'll quickly notice, and something that I would definitely adjust in this guide, is looking at our Lightbearer faction, we do not have any damage dealers in here. You are 100% absolutely going to have to put Scarlet in here, and we are realizing this as we look at my account that is now 30 days old. Without having a damage dealer in here for a significant amount of summons, you're not going to be able to make progression within the tower itself. And right now, the Lightbearer tower is about 100 floors behind where my tower is right now, which of course is very sad to see, but it is very true. So absolutely. And also questioning kind of Adrian Elise. Now, Adrian Elise does require a pretty significant build to work, but looking at this guide as it sits today, we have a brand new Mauler that will be coming out on Tuesday. That Mauler is more effective than Adrian Elise, so I don't know if we are going to keep the effectiveness of this hero. And the hero also does require a significantly high signature item. I believe a plus 40 to be fully effective, where the new Mauler only requires a 30. But again, I don't know if the new Mauler was taken into account when this guide was put together, but absolutely putting Scarlet in here. And I would probably even drop out Rain to put Scarlet in there earlier, or Adrian Elise again to put Scarlet in there a little bit earlier for the damage dealer. Now, looking at our Maulers right here, kind of the similar thing. I do have Vika in formation. She is working very well. Now, between this, you're either going to choose Crescio to put in there at the beginning, or you're going to put Orid in the beginning. Honestly, I would probably put Orid in there and leave him in there because as a new player to AFK Arena, it is going to be important because as you build this hero up, you're going to get a lot of rewards. I did choose Crescio on my 30-day-old free-to-play account. Really regret it. He doesn't have quite the survivability that we see with Orin. This would be one that I would absolutely put in here. And I do love the build right here. Same with the Greyborns. So again, just a very, very small adjustment in there when it comes to this, knowing that we do not have a damage dealer in the Lightbearers and how much that is kind of dragging us down in there. Now, team comps, this is another place where I feel like he is so spot on. It works incredible when it comes to coming in here because you do get free copies of Wukong. Even though he's a tank, he does a considerable amount of damage, or he might be a warrior actually, does a very considerable amount of damage. We have Aethys in here as a tank. We have Brutus, we have Thorn, we have Shamira. All of them absolutely phenomenal. DPS again, we have Wukong, we have Randy, we have Rem, and we have Liberta. Randy and Rem, I am running for where I am right now. Liberta, we're working on. We already have him, I believe, at Legendary, maybe even Legendary Plus. And then Wukong, unfortunately, his DPS early game works incredibly well, but he falls off very, very fast. And you do run really one hero in here to carry everything. There's a couple one-hit wonders, which are kind of the support in here. Leica does incredibly well. Nara does incredibly well. Even Tassie does well. If you do get lucky with just one copy, because as you can see, early game is 1 damage dealer and only 1 damage dealer, 1 tank, 3 supports. Now in here, again, there are a couple ones that do work very well. Thinking of like a Lorison, even looking at a Pharrell, very early game can work incredibly well with just 1 single copy because of the crowd control that they offer. It does work. And troubleshooting right here, watch the fight, look where your damage dealers. Some of the most detrimental heroes in here are like Athalia. Very early, Athalia will absolutely decimate. And also seeing if you're fighting like a Nara, where exactly there is a little bit of RNG. So if you're running it and finally getting into the auto battler, it will make a little bit of a difference. And I'm zooming out a little bit so you guys can kind of see where we're going with this guide. I'll put a link down below so you guys can also check it out. Now, looking at our top right over here with our Stargazing, absolutely, this is such a good build with Stargazing. Now we know, again, kind of based on the other guide, that we did pick up a copy of Lava Tune. I'm not seeing a lot of effectiveness in there. Even if I didn't pick up that copy, we could come in here, we could get Liberta and gaze one copy after Liberta. Now Mahira is another hero that will work just with one single copy. I was lucky enough, we got the unlimited summons. I pulled a copy of Mahira out of there, so I did have that copy. We're building out Liberta right now. Then you can see we have Demia in here, we have Aurelia in here, gazing them all to 1 star. The effectiveness of getting that 1 star and getting the engraving on there does really make a big difference when you're following heroes. And it does make a big difference prioritizing one hero at a time, guys. When you think of the regular faction heroes, really building up and focusing on one at a time, the same is true when it comes to Stargazing. The same is true when it comes to the Temple of Time, when it comes to, Draconic heroes. Building up and summoning and focusing on one at a time is going to really exponentially advance your account versus going in there and getting a bunch of different heroes all over the board. You have to focus and build one at a time. So looking at the Awaken in the Dragons, for Awaken Shamir and Envidio, you can use your time emblems until you have a single legendary copy. Save 200 more and turn them into Mythic. Now, of course, saving 200 more, I do not recommend by any means just sitting and saving 200 time emblems. And if you've been following the free-to-play account, the reason is the incredible amount of resources you get out of these time emblems. Looking at the ability to build up collections, so getting all of your tomes out of there, really huge. Getting your chests, getting some of your essence, getting the copies of the heroes, as well as all of the tier chests, everything else you get out of here. Absolutely kind of focus on one hero. And again, early game, it is going to be Envy. Envy is going to be the first one. Envy is going to be the priority when you're summoning them out. Getting them stars in the Stargazer once they go there. Take all free resources of Hildwyn. Don't pull dragons unless advised by an experienced player. And here it says 500 time emblems when you're close to saving them up. Again, for the time emblems itself, I would go ahead and build those out a lot faster. I would not sit on right here 1,318 time emblems. I would use them as I get them. Now, the opposite is completely true when it comes to Draconic Insignias. Draconic Insignias run about 700 Draconic Insignias to actually get an Ascended 1-star Draconic hero, the Highborn Draconic heroes. I would save these, and I would save them again and again and again until you hit that 700 mark, and then make sure who is the best in slot at that time so you can build them out in their entirety. Again, time emblems I would use. Same with Stargazer Scrolls. So we're looking for Envy, we're looking for Liberta, just like we talked about a minute ago. These I would save, and then Scrolls I would go ahead and use. The reason being, when you start looking at the current Draconic heroes, we have Scion, we have Seraphina, we have Nyla, we have so many heroes that are in there that are being used, that are big heroes to use within the Draconic faction. And being able to get the Draconic heroes early without using diamonds is a game changer, because if you can push through some of the Dragon Forge, if you can get through stage 1, 2, 3 of the trial, it is going to give you access to additional time insignias, or those Draconic insignias, and you'll also get access to more of these scrolls as you continue through here. If you do not, and if you save all of your Draconic resources in the entirety, you're not going to be able to move in the Dragon Forge. If you cannot move in the Dragon Forge, unfortunately, you're not going to get these resources like you need to, which is the big reason why you really do have to focus on them. Now, in the Garrison, and we'll just go to the bottom right. So within the Garrison, absolutely get Rem. As much as I love Shuna, overall, when you look at the effectiveness in here, it is going to be Rem that you're going to go. And I do not believe Sheltier is in the Garrison. I might be missing that one, but I didn't think as of right now. I don't, maybe I'm completely wrong. I might be thinking about companions, but I didn't think she was in there. But Rem is going to be the one that you want. Even now, we've proven through going through 31-4, picking up that copy of Rem. Rem does incredibly well when you get them built out. Really big one. And even thinking now of the resource generation, getting 6 copies of Shuna and then 6 of Rem, and then looking at a couple other heroes are really going to make a big difference. And at the end of this, I want to see, because I thought someone had mentioned that shell tier was not available in there, but I definitely want to check that out. Now, looking in the bottom left, this is where a lot of newer players get kind of confused. So the first heroes you want to ascend are the 5 fodder. So these are the 5 fodder heroes. Now you'll notice right off the bat, there are 2 light bearers, which again kind of throw the counts off for a lot of different things. They only go to legendary. That is where they will cap at level 160 once you do go out of there. And honestly, right now, most of these heroes you're not going to use, and you're really just going to use them as fodder. The reason being, in AFK Arena, you are building heroes at such an exponential rate. It is kind of crazy. Even going through here as fast as I did not build. Well, I built these fodder heroes out, and I use them as fodder itself, again, because we got so many copies of heroes. This was very, very short-lived when it comes to building these out. Arden does incredibly well early. The rest of these, not really so much. But then again, like I said, you'll recycle them relatively quickly. Now, going through here, they go, and this is the regular 4 factions. Even looking at the Celestials and your Hypos, you can see they go from Elite, then you need the same copy, another Elite copy to go to Elite Plus. You need those fodder copies to go to Legendary, all the way up to Ascended, and then, of course, adding stars on there. Legendary requires those double copies in there too, so it does take a little bit longer with those Awakened heroes to actually build them out to move through here in the entirety. Then we look at our SI 30 priority. We can see Ivan is the first one, guys, once you get him up to Mythic. And really, Ivan at a plus 30 signature item provides the energy that is going to go to any other hero. You can even run Ivan with Randy, works incredibly well, but you can run Ivan with Liberta, you can run Ivan with Rem, which I have been doing because Randy can actually survive on his own. With some crowd control, with some support, works incredibly well. And then, of course, going into any Awakened hero, this is going to be Envy, which is going to be your priority. But honestly, again, with resource generation, I already do have Ivan up to a 30. Liberta is only at Legendary. Yet I do have 1 star here on Randy. Randy's already at a plus 27, plus 26, plus 27 signature item. So it says to go through here, and really these are the priorities. But even thinking of Demia, looking at Ulna, looking at Lavatoon, I am probably weeks, if not months, away from getting any copies of these heroes. Even getting Liberta all the way up to that mythic level. I still have a multitude of copies, which is probably going to take me another couple weeks. By then, I will generate enough red chests to go ahead and build him up and really prioritize him to a 30. And that is going to be long before I get the Awakened copies of Envy to actually build them up. I only have met Legendary Plus. But again, once I do get there, and honestly, it's going to be quite a while to get them. And then even thinking here, because then it says, then take these heroes to SI 30. These heroes are going to be ready for an SI 30 way, way, way faster. And you might end up or find yourself sitting on a lot of red chests going through here just because you're waiting to build the hero. So again, you can kind of extrapolate it. I'm already taking Randy to a 30, and that's where, again, Ivan and Rem, and then Randy by himself is able to go through and actually break through some of the tough places in there. So looking at here in the pets, Slumbering Seal, still the absolute, keep Seal on until level 18. That is exactly that we are doing right now with, again, kind of comparison to the other guy. The Slumbering Seal is going to take in, really stay in there for an incredible amount of time. Replace Talisman, which is this one, in the Treat Spectator with the Owl, and then getting them up to 6. Again, this is going to take a use Spice to take Red Highlighter Pet to 18. And the other guide, it has kind of a Spice trick to go through and recycle of them with Ciro's Pet Guide and a couple other places, which I know Ciro hasn't done the Pet Guide in a significant amount of time. I'm not even sure if he even plays anymore. Let me know in the comments if he still does. But I know we used to do a pet guide, and I believe the last 3-4 pets might not even be in there. But overall, yes, the seal going to 18 is still the absolute priority. Now, after level 160, those Legendary Plus are going to be your fodder. Another thing to take note right here, pick Iran of the Heroes Covenant. I did not do this. Now I struggle with the Wilder Tower in general. Grit Chimera after acquiring the 4 copies. I unfortunately did not do that, but I think I actually might, is take all the copies that I have of Chimera, switch a basic, very basic one of Chimera into maybe an Iran. Maybe I could use another hero in there. And then, of course, always include Miracle Worker and Farewell Gift on the Ghoulish Gallery wish list. Those are two of the biggest priorities that you will use for everything. So going through the final part, which I'm going to zoom in a little bit, guys, because this is the store. This is very, very, very important. Buy these every day, and whether you're in the store, you refresh the store for more Pokecoins after Chapter 24. Time emblems can be bought at Chapter 22, and this is what you want to buy. Do not buy Arcane Staffs until you complete floor 10 100 times. So you have a long, long way to go through the 100 times. So honestly, at this point, I probably wouldn't even buy Arcane Staffs. With the gold, you 100% want to buy these. A newer player to AFK Arena, you are going to use these pretty much forever. As new heroes get released, you're going to have these. Now, of course, if you're sitting on hundreds of them or even 1,000 of them, maybe you stop buying the gold with gold, but honestly, it gets to a point where gold does not make a difference at all. But like I was saying with Arcane Staffs, I probably wouldn't choose to buy the Arcane Staffs as much as I like them. And the problem that we have right now with the Ghoulish Gallery is if you are not buying these staffs and using your diamonds to buy these staffs, you are never going to be able to build collections out of the Ghoulish Gallery. So it is kind of a catch-22. And I think there has to be a point these Arcane Staffs are going to have to come to the Field of Stars. They're going to have to come to the AFK rewards. There's going to have to be a lot more ways to get these staffs. And I know why they put this in here to focus on buying the staffs. Because like I said, they're giving us 10 a week, which might not even get you anything out of there. So if you're buying one a day, you're bringing that up to 17 a week. And there's really, again, not many places that you can get the staffs at all. Now, within the guild store, we can see time emblems, draconic insignias, and honestly, earlier game, yes, time emblems are 100% going to be the big thing to pull out of here. Then we're looking at copies of Hilduin. Then, of course, the dim stones. This, for a newer player, is going to take a long time to get the dim stones, because remember, you do have to hire a hero 6 times in total. Once you hire them 6 times, you can hire them after that for free. Dimensional gear is mentioned right here, whatever stones, dimensional gear you need. Dimensional gear honestly doesn't have a very big impact in AFK Arena. When you start looking in comparison to levels, when you start looking at comparison to other things in here. So dim gear would be the very, very last resources. And even looking at the stones, I do not purchase the stones at all. You will get to a point where you generate enough stones through everything else, which again, really doesn't make a big difference. Even as a new player, again, 30 days in the free to play, I have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 stones already. We've been getting some of the tier 1 boxes already. Again, I wouldn't really buy the stones out of there. I would just get them naturally, knowing that we already have a lot of things to get in the guild store. Do not buy legendary gear. Only dimensional gear currently worth purchasing is the boots right here. So again, if you're looking at getting the ranger boots or the agility boots, those are the only ones that are worth purchasing. Again, gear doesn't have quite the factor it has. Now, dimensional exchange expense, we just did this with solo leveling. You can see we have Joan in here, the dim stones, which we're looking for, random totem, and then dimensional emblems. So you can only get these emblems after you get Joan. Now, I went in and I actually got Robin Hood instead of Joan of Arc. But the thing to note is if you're buying Joan, she does work incredibly well. Again, as an early player, Robin Hood does the same, works very well. Again, as an early player, energy regeneration. Me personally, I wanted to get Robin Hood instead of Joan. But if you're getting Joan or Robin Hood, you have to buy them out 4 times to have access to these dimensional emblems, which means that is 4 months of going through here and being able to buy those copies out for 4 solid months. Once you have Joan bought out after 4 months, or Robin Hood just the same, then it will turn to those dimensional emblems, which is kind of crazy. Challenger Store only is your priority all the way up to Ascended. She needs the 9 of 9 furniture. And then, of course, Orthos, just for the fact that Orthos still has the silly, stupid, whatever you want to call it, the Orthos cheese, just like we see in a lot of other places. Orthos is still being used, again, with that 9 of 9 furniture because of the cheese factor we have. Even today, he's being used, which is kind of crazy. Future Dimensionals in the Garrison, and then we do have Merlin in here. Now, once you get to the point of building out or buying out Merlin, again, you need a multitude. You got to buy them out, because once you have them, then the red chests become available. So you do have a significant amount of time before you can actually buy that out. So I hope this explains it, guys, from kind of a very basic beginning guide. We talked about this before, and we talked about it quite a bit when it comes to AFK Arena and when it comes to building this out. really starting the account off in a correct way and really a very good manner is what you have to ensure you do. And I want to look at the Garrison because again, I thought for some reason Sheltier is not in here, which there is Rem, Rimuru, we have Shuna. Sheltier is not here. Again, a lot of players were kind of questioning why Sheltier was not here. I do not know. We know there was a full rework when it comes to Albedo. There was a full rework when it comes to Ainz. But unfortunately, Sheltier is not here in the Garrison, and I do not know exactly why. We have, again, 25 more days with the mercenary that we have for Rem. So we only hired her 5 days ago. So we're doing pretty well. Again, we pushed through a lot of different content. Gonna have to see what's coming up in the future. But guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.